On today's episode of the Nostalgia Test podcast, Dan and Manny continue their journey through the Rocky franchise by putting Rocky 3 to the ultimate test. Welcome to the Nostalgia Test podcast, the show where two longtime friends put their mainstream pop culture past to the ultimate test, the Nostalgia Test. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Nostalgia Test podcast. I'm Dan Dissinger here in LA, and I'm here with my longtime friend and co-host, Manny Coelho, there in New York. I'm starting to laugh already because I'm just like, what did we do to ourselves, Manny? How are you
What
doing?
did we do, Dan? What did we do? All right, well, I'm here. How am I doing? I don't know. I am actually cursing you for bringing this test, because this is like Rocky marathons sounded great when we used to watch them back in the day. What were we doing? I guess we must have been like hungover when we watched Rocky marathons, because this marathon, oh my God. I feel like I'm going 15 rounds with Apollo Creed.
I am dying inside. And the thing is, like, at first we were just like, there was an excitement when we were planning this. Like, we're going to go through the Rockies. We're going to have people come on. We're going to talk about each movie. Then we're going to have this round table. Now I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm dreading. Should we even do that part? I'm like,
we ain't doing the round table, bro.
I think what we do is we'll turn Rocky 6 into that and just be like, there we go. Fuck it. Because
we'll see.
I need therapy after this.
We'll see. What the funny thing is, I think it's because we didn't, and this is a little behind the scenes spoiler. We recorded them in different times.
Yes.
Not in order.
That's right.
And I think we, excuse my language, but I think we by doing a certain episode before any of them. Yeah. That episode should have been the last episode because that's the most favorite episode. But then again, I think it just would have been exhausting anyway. Anyways, not to crap on this one, but guys, welcome. I forgot the intro, but Dan's probably going to pop
There'll
that
be a
in
drop.
later.
We'll drop it right in there.
Guys, if this is your first time at the Nostalgia Test podcast, this is where we put our pop culture past to the test. Dan and I decide whether or not something stays nostalgic or it passes the nostalgia test, which means that it is still enjoyable today.
Make sure to subscribe for new episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Nostalgia Test and on Twitter at Nostalgia Test. Come to the website, sign up for the email, suggest a test, and the website address is thenostalgiatest.com, or go old school and email us at thenostalgiatest@gmail.com.
Welcome to the Rocky 3 episode where we take Rocky 3 to the test. And I, of course, am wearing my shirt that I have not washed since we started this marathon. The Rocky Beats Apollo 1979, which comes right before this movie. Mm-hmm. And, of course, if you haven't seen any of the movies, when you watch Rocky 3, you get a little recap.
Yes, you get a little recap. Yeah.
Before you even think about giving me a review, dissecting this movie, what do you remember? What did you used to think about Rocky 3? Did you used to like always want to watch it, or you were like one and done kind of thing? You knew it was good, but you didn't want to watch it anymore.
I wanted to watch Rocky 3 at the training because with Apollo.
One? Apollo with the bro hug.
With the bro hug. The bro hug, the eye of the tiger.
There's a lot of great montages in Rocky 4, but this is one of the classic montages. With him, I do like him, like, when he's going back and forth in front of the mirror when, like, things get better, and he's jump roping and stuff, and, like, him and Apollo are doing the dance or whatever. Phenomenal. Love it. Love it. Sylvester Stallone and Apollo in the greatest shape, I think, of all the movies. Yes, Rocky 4, he was, like, his abs were on top of abs.
I don't know what those were.
I don't know what that was, but
it just made me feel bad about myself.
Yeah. Steroids would do that, Dan. But like the build that he was in.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Apollo, Jesus.
Carl Weathers just continues to just
looks better than 1 and 2.
Oh.
In my opinion, he looks better in 3.
he looks.
I'm in love with Carl Weathers.
That's good meatball.
After watching all of this, like,
oh my god,
dude, his character building of Apollo gets better and better through all the movies. Like, you start to really like Apollo. I liked Apollo in the other two, but like, his arrogance isn't so overpowering because you're not just hearing him like showboating. They humanize him in this.
Yes, he even said, like, you know, Carl Weathers said he feel like this was the his favorite of the franchise to be in because he felt like Apollo Creed was way more humanized in this film than any other ones. And I totally agree with him. I mean, but the thing is, because I still feel, though, like Carl Weathers does a good job of humanizing Apollo in Rocky 1 and 2 still. Like, I feel I'm not angry at Apollo. I'm never going to be like, we have to, you know, Rocky better like knock him out and blah, blah, blah. It just feels real. And I feel like in this one, and this maybe is why Carl Weathers is so important to these movies, is he grounds it very well in Rocky 3. Rocky 3 could have like floated off into like crazy Rocky 4 space, which whatever, we love, you know, we'll get to Rocky 4 when we get there. But
Rocky 4 is a fan favorite though.
But Apollo grounds. But
I don't think they were ready for it in 82.
No, they were not ready for it in 1982.
You couldn't do Rocky 4 in 82.
Every scene that he was in, Carl Weathers just like stole every scene.
He was one of my favorite characters besides Mickey. And then Adrian. The only movie I could say that I really liked Adrian, like her character development, off the chain in this one.
Yes.
Rewind for a moment.
Because I want to know your first impressions. Like, what are your, before we rewatched it, Rocky 3 for you, like, same thing. Like,
so I always kind of liked Rocky 3, but I never went to watch it. Like, Rocky 3 is like, there's certain movies that you watch once or twice and you're like, I'm good. They're good, but I'm not going to watch it again. Right. Like Inception. Like, I enjoyed Inception, but I cannot watch Inception again.
No.
I remember watching Rocky 3 and thinking, how are we at the fight already? Oh my God, he lost.
That's right. Yeah.
And it was like, whoa. And then like to have that in the middle of the movie was crazy. So like, I remember that was great. Sylvester Stallone actually says that this is a 9 out of 10.
He loves Rocky 3.
I do like this. Like I know we've done our ratings in every movie,
which I think I'm forgetting, but yeah,
yeah. Every episode we've said them, but I flip flop between 2 and 3 in their position every time. Yeah. And I think it's just because of like 2 is really one continued, and 3 is good. And I do remember going like, no, it's a good movie. It's great. You know, like, you really hate Clubber Lang.
Oh, Mr. This. T.
You never hated Apollo.
No.
You just were like, Apollo was cocky, but he wasn't this kind of cocky. He wasn't, like, Clubber Lang didn't care about anybody. He's a sociopath.
Dude, he has a line in this movie, which he's just like, I live alone. I train alone. I win. Like, he says all these things. Like, Jesus, dude. Like, that is, get a friend. Like, have a friend. It's like,
you never saw his trainer really until like the end.
And Morgan Freeman apparently auditioned for that part.
Yes.
Like, what? Like,
dude, that would have been crazy to see Morgan Freeman as that part
in the most minimal part of all time.
I know, because you don't really see him, because all the training montages of like Clubber Lang getting ready to fight him the first time, you only see Clubber Lang by himself. There's always shots of him by himself.
Yeah,
So like, and did you notice like they said that they did it purposely? Like, he had like feathers on his ears, and he always grunted like he was supposed to be an animal. Like, he had the thirst where like Rocky didn't.
And this is Mr. T's film debut.
It is also Hulk Hogan's film debut.
And he got fired. Hulk Hogan got fired for being in this movie from the WWF. Guess what?
But then got rehired 2 years later with Mr. T.
That's right. And
Hulkamania starts right after this. All because of this movie.
I just want to say that, like, one thing throughout this whole, like, as we've watched these 3 and future episodes, but like Stallone, his world, what he did with Rocky, so many things like spawned from that for people's careers, for things
And
that like created like the
launched.
Steadicam things and all these things that we've learned about Rocky 1, 2, and now Rocky 3. And also one of the coolest things that came out of Rocky 3 is I pity the fool.
I pity the fool.
Was the first time it was ever said. And Mr. T, then that became his catchphrase. He didn't really mean to do it. It just came out, and it was like, whoa. And then it just like became his thing.
That was his I'll be back.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And it's crazy. Sylvester Stallone sees Hulk Hogan, likes his WrestleMania match with, I guess, Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
Or just liked him. So Vince McMahon's father fired Hulk Hogan. 2 years later, Vince McMahon, knowing all the people loved him in this, hires him back and puts him together with Mr. T.
I mean, this is the genius of Vince McMahon, and I feel like when we get to it,
I love and hate Vince McMahon because of like
greatest
all
heel.
the different. He's just crazy. All the things that like as I was a kid, Austin. I was an Austin 316 fan, so like Vince McMahon and him and The Rock. I was both of them because those two amazing. And you hated Vince McMahon. Oh. I like Shane, but I hated Vince McMahon. Yeah. And I only like Shane because respect to him had one of the best,
one of the greatest
matches of all time.
We'll put it to the we'll talk.
We'll
about
put
that
to the test. Yeah. But back to this. So Hulkamania starts all this because of this.
Yeah.
Again, you asked me what I thought, and that's a nostalgia test tangent. I like the movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad I went back to it. It's a short one in comparison to...
An hour and 39 minutes, I believe, this whole film is.
But I felt long because
this
has been... I'm going to tell everybody, man. I watched this in a marathon one day while I was painting and doing other things in the house. And I was like, oh my God, I'm shot. What did Dan do to me?
What did Dan do? I get the blame all day long.
I'm blaming you, dude, because you were like, yo, we have to do Rocky. We have to do a Rocky marathon. And I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool.
Now, that was like 15 rounds ago, one a coma ago, a baby to a 8-year-old to a, What I really liked about this movie, besides the time travel that we go through, because this is 3 years later, Rocky wins the fight against Apollo by like 1 second. He now has turned into a whole different man. And I love how every once in a while his like old self comes in.
Yeah.
But like he's chiseled. He's more clean cut. Adrian's a whole other woman.
Yeah.
Paulie, you
Fat
see
again.
cuts of Paulie, lost his job. Or maybe he doesn't have to work anymore. Hates Rocky.
Yeah.
Even though Rocky's like giving him everything.
Yeah.
But like just wants to work with Rocky. I guess it's funny. Like Paulie doesn't want a handout. So I got to give that to him.
Right.
He just wants a job from Rocky.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want Rocky to give him a stinking watch.
But I was thinking, like, didn't Paulie ask, hey, if you need help in your corner? Hey, he did that in Rocky 1 or 2. So he has asked him for a job. And he flat out was denied that job. So a part of me, like, empathizes with Paulie's anger just for, like, a second. Being like,
well, he probably is like, you're not working with us.
No, we got a guy to hit you.
Yeah. But like, so we open up and you see all the different cuts of Rocky going through his like different fights that he had in 3 years. That guy fought 10 people in 3 years.
Okay, he fought 10 people in 3 years. And also the opening of the film, 6 minutes and 23 seconds, no dialogue. It opens with a previously in Rocky 2, then a montage. Like,
yeah, montage. You know, the only time he says yo in this film is in that montage when they show you the end of Rocky 2 where he says yo Adrian, I did it.
Yeah.
He doesn't say yo at all.
Not in this at all, movie. Which was really weird.
Well, dude, you said this once before. Sylvester Stallone is actually a genius.
Yeah.
Like, he writes this so well. That was purposely done. You know it because it was like, okay, Rocky has changed. He's matured. Somehow gotten a little bit smarter. I don't know who he went and learned a couple of things. Got business savvy.
Yeah.
Right? loves charity,
Mm-hmm.
is being followed by everyone. Did you notice that a lot of this was handheld work?
No,
And
really.
so Sylvester Stallone did that on purpose because he wanted to show, because this was kind of happening to his world, because he blew up, and he wanted to show that when people become a celebrity, that they're constantly being surrounded by people, cameras, all this stuff. So there's a lot of handheld work and less cuts, and it's a lot of close-ups to show that his life is no longer private. Everything is just being seen by the camera.
Yeah.
So some of it even looks like documentary work.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a really good job of creating that sort of like celebrity, like all of a sudden you're huge. This is why I still feel, even though Rocky IV is what it is to everyone, fan favorite, right? This could have been a super strong trilogy. And it was like geared up for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you know that he was supposed to, I think he was supposed to end it in Rome.
Yeah, this is the craziest thing. He said he wanted to end it in Rome. He actually wanted a scene where Rocky had an appointment with the Pope, like the real
as
Pope
Rocky.
at the time, as Rocky. And then he's like, if I have the guts, he told like Siskel or whatever, or, Ebert, he's like, if I have the guts, I don't know if I do, but if I did, he should die in the end. Like he wanted to kill Rocky at the end of the trilogy. Now, that to me makes kind of sense. It's like, okay, like maybe, like, I don't know, right? Like, because it would at least end it. But I guess, you have something good, like, I guess keep making money off of it. I have no idea.
I mean, yeah, I mean, real life, like, hits you as Sylvester Stallone is like, cash cow, keep it going. You have to think about it that way. Would have been awesome and bittersweet, possibly. But I like this one. I like the third one, how this went. So you see in Rocky, he's such a good person to Paulie. He's like all upset about Rocky. Paulie's got nothing to complain about.
Nothing.
Except that Rocky never gave him a job. Yeah. But yet gave him his knuckle breaking job.
Yeah.
And then he,
who knows what happened with that?
Yeah, exactly. He in the montage, he was just sitting next to Rocky the whole time, just in nice suits,
enjoying life. Like, what is your problem? Like, you're living it up. You're going to these fights. You're having fun. You're like,
I found interesting is that they did cuts of like Rocky, like knowing how to fight a lot.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. Yeah. But he forgets all that. Yeah. Against Clubber Lang. Because it didn't look like he was being chumped around, even though apparently, Mickey was trying to make him just fight has-beens.
But that's boxing, and that's the thing, like, and I feel like Stallone does a good job of kind of like encapsulating the boxing world and being like, we never know if these are truly, I mean, these were contenders, these people were up in the ranks, but they weren't like Mr. T. They weren't like people that were just like going to rip your face off. And I feel like that's kind of boxing a lot of the times. You don't see matches like that. I think
you end up starting to play it safe, right? Because unfortunately, everything, has to be a payday, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to get hurt too much, but you want to retain it so that you continue to make more money. It's like job security, right?
Yeah.
Even you may say you hate 5, but even 5 shows you some of the really bad parts of boxing. There's just so many different aspects of the business. Mm-hmm. So this kind of what I liked about this, it was like Rocky is now Apollo.
Yeah.
And Apollo at the end of 2 gives him the belt and says, good luck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like, you don't even know what you're about to get into.
No.
Like the game that you're about to play.
Yeah.
And what you have to do to stay on top and be relevant. And then after you get all that to still have it.
Mm.
And I thought that was great. And Rocky makes the same mistakes Apollo made.
Yeah.
Apollo made these mistakes against Rocky, yet Rocky didn't learn from that.
Mm-hmm.
That he was all cocky when he was going against Clubber Lang while training because he really didn't want to fight him, but he did it because Clubber Lang calls out his wife. There was no real
That's the thing about Rocky. It's like if you put an ad in the newspaper, he'll fight you. If you go to a statue unveiling and you go, which I always think when I watch that scene, it's like Stallone sees it and is scared to death of that statue. He's like, oh!
The 3 reactions of him, Adrian, and Mickey one of the most comical reactions of
ridiculous.
the movie.
It's like, what do you think was under there?
It was so ridiculous. Like his face, I'm like, why did he respond that way? But then, like, was Mickey being serious when he was like, "It's beautiful"?
I don't know. I know.
The best part of that scene is that you're like, you're not sure. I can't give you the right answer.
No.
Whether they were kind of making fun of it or they were just really happy about it.
I know.
You know,
it was so weird. It's an awkward scene, but he does a good job of making it awkward. Like this is weird. Like why is this happening?
But dude, even the filming of that scene, the way the positioning of the camera,
it's very
anxiety inducing.
Oh yeah.
Like I felt like too close. Like I was like, what is happening in this scene?
Yeah.
You know that in one of the drums you could see Mr. T's autograph?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
They couldn't wait until the end, like, all right, that's a wrap. Sign the drum later. Like, what the hell?
I'm pretty sure he just walked over there. It's like, bruh, I'll sign whatever drum I want to sign.
That's right. I pity the fool who got my autograph.
Are we to believe that Mickey lives in a pink room, though, in that mansion? Did you see his bedroom when he went to go pack and Stallone walks in? He's like, what are you doing?
I believe it. Because Mickey's like, yeah, I know, I believe it.
It's crazy.
I believe it. They're like, yeah, we're not going to paint this. Mickey's like, I'll move in. I'll put pictures of your last couple of fights here.
I'll put pictures from the last movies. I'll put, like, movie stills in.
I love it. Because Stallone just likes to like regurgitate like everything. So he's like, oh, here's a shot of me beating up Apollo.
Oh, do you know what I'm noticing in this movie? Greatest product placement ever. Because they don't look at the product, he talks about it. Like, remember when he asked the kid what his favorite cereal, like, they're gonna have breakfast, like, what are you gonna have, Wheaties? And what are Wheaties? Dude. Wheaties are for champions. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. Can we get a Polaroid? A Polaroid?
Yeah, dude. They were all just, exactly. Like, he just explained them. Yeah. Like, they weren't there. They weren't on camera.
No.
He just said them.
And he, like, snuck that American Express one in there as, like, Rocky is doing an American Express commercial. We're not going to play it. We're just showing it in the montage in the beginning that's there. And that's where we're putting it in. I was like,
and it was probably an American Express commercial that, like, Sylvester Stallone did.
Most likely.
They, like, put it in there.
Yeah.
Because I know the Muppet Show one.
That was him.
Kermit says Rocky Balboa, but that was dubbed in.
Yeah.
But all right, so we're like, we're still on this intro, which is crazy. So like,
no dialogue,
so Rocky just finds out, you know, like, whatever, Paulie's Paulie, and then, you know, Mickey's like, hey, we should retire, and then, you know, he gets called out by Clubber Lang, who is the up and coming fighter, who's really ranked #1, who's insane, like.
He's murdering
just the
people.
Biggest like crap talker of all time. And Rocky's just like, hey, one more time. Let's do this one more time. The way he's asking Mickey, like, they're both not into it, bro.
No.
Like, when he's sitting down and Mickey's like, we skipped over to the Thunderlips fight, but because
it's so early in the movie. It's like 14 minutes
so
in,
early.
And you're like, oh, this is now? Like, this is now.
Which was a ridiculous scene when, like, Hulk Hogan's standing over Stallone. Hilarious. All of that was a funny scene, but the biggest takeaway of that was Mickey's heart going, and no one really paying attention to it, except that one trainer. So then Mickey's kind of like, that's it, I'm done. Yeah. Right? He's like, I'm done, I'm finished, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Why doesn't he just say that to Rocky?
I don't know why he just says, like, look, I have a heart problem. We can't do this. You're super rich. Who cares what this guy said? Like, it's never going to affect you at all. You did everything you could do. What's weird is that I mean, they set it up so oddly, like, and at the fact that, like, even after all that ridiculously weird training that he does, which the band knows the music from Rocky. Like, I don't understand how that works. Like, they're playing the soundtrack from Rocky in Rocky, like the music.
It's really meta.
Yeah.
It's really meta.
And that Mickey's like, all right, he's never gone the distance. We're going to take a 50. Like, do we think that Rocky was going to beat Clubber Lang even if Mickey didn't, like, get hurt? Like, I don't know, man.
No.
There's no way.
No, when he was like, "Oh, I need Mickey," they almost used that as an excuse, like, "Oh, he was distracted." Like, I don't think Rocky was ready, dude. Rocky wasn't ready for that fight. He didn't really want the fight. He got mad because his wife got called up on, and that was the only time they brought Adrian into any fight. Even Apollo didn't go after her.
No.
Apollo was a respectable person. This guy has no respect for anything. No. He's a sociopath. So, like, he just didn't care. Calls him out. There's that whole thing about, hey, woman. Basically, a PG movie where a guy is catcalling this guy's wife in front of everybody.
Yeah. And literally saying, like, come over to my house. We're going to have sex, and I'm going to show you a real man. This movie is PG.
So the craziest part there is, like, right there, he's already in it for the wrong reasons. And then he finds out that he might have been not so great of a champ.
Yeah, he was like carried.
Here's where I get annoyed. You beat Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
At his best.
Yeah.
Twice.
You fought 30 rounds. 30 rounds of some of the most brutal boxing ever.
And I get like, I'm a fighter. That's what I am. But still, man, you needed to prove what?
Yeah.
This was all a pissing match because he talked to your wife.
Yeah, that's all this was. And it's so weird that bothered him so much because
but then it seems like he got over it. Because then he rents out a space. He's working out. His wife at the time kisses him. She's the groupie, the blonde groupie that's like, can I get a kiss?
Yeah.
All of that was a ridiculous, like, what am I watching? And that was also a Nike placement. Did you see everybody was wearing Nike shirts?
Yes. I also was really confused because, see, this is the confusing part about Rocky 3, right? Is that, like, would he get that crazy? Like, would he get to that point where he's just like renting out?
Yeah, because go to Rocky 2.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Tiger jackets.
Like, don't forget how much money he spent on Rocky 2. He's got a little smarter, but like his head must have been, like you're talking about Superstar. Yeah. You're talking about the cheers. That's an addiction, dude.
Yeah.
That changes a person a little bit. Rocky all of a sudden became Apollo. Like, he was very comfortable with the cameras.
Oh, super comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
Remember, like, 1 and 2 hated cameras.
Yeah.
They didn't care about them.
But this is what I mean. Like, even the way he approaches the Hulk Hogan fight, like, or Thunder Lips, which, again, this is PG. And we're talking about this guy's character is literally just all about sex. Like, all of it. It's like Thunder Lips. It's like, everyone else heard that, right? Like, we all heard that. Like, we all heard that. And, and even the way he says, like, all right, we'll just move around, right? Does that hurt? Does that hurt? And then, like, he just gets body slammed. I mean, he literally should have been, like, knocked out. Like, you know. I mean, if Paulie didn't have a switchblade, he's like, how does Paulie, like, go into a venue with a bottle of liquor in his pocket? He's got a switchblade. This guy, like, out of his mind.
Paulie's insane. He lives in his own world itself. We should have a whole movie about Paulie.
Yeah.
Just following Paulie.
I want to know Paulie's backstory.
I want to see Paulie in the war.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like there's so much opportunity in this whole universe that Stallone has set up.
I'm telling you, Stallone could definitely do a Netflix series.
Yeah.
Of like, that's what we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
Where it's like Apollo and Rocky before they meet.
Yeah.
And like, you follow Apollo's like life as a child and like what he's doing and how he makes it into being a champ, and you follow Rocky.
Yeah.
And him and Paulie.
Yeah.
And even have like an episode where Paulie's at war. Like, that could be a whole episode, and then Paulie comes back.
Yeah.
And sees Rocky again.
Oh my God.
I don't know,
it would just be that would be really interesting to me because I still want to know about their relationship. But yeah, so we get through the Thunder Lips fight. It's really interesting. Whatever. Call us.
I just want to be like an extra.
Yeah,
like I could be like Rocky's friend that he beats up. One of the first persons.
Yeah, I could be like a guy that like Gazzo whacked or someone. I don't care. I just
like young Gazzo. Imagine young Gazzo.
Yeah. Where's Gazzo? Did he just disappear? It's just like
Gazzo's gone.
Gazzo's gone.
Never see, that's the thing. He gets too good. Like he moves Paulie out, and he like doesn't even see it.
Is Paulie's not living in that mansion? Like he yells at him saying he's like, "You moved Mickey in."
Before he was there.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh yeah, he did say you moved Mickey.
I guess he got Mickey's room after he died.
Probably. Yo, they didn't bring up Gazzo in 5. Gazzo should have shown up in 5.
He should have probably showed up in 5. Gazzo should have been a part of 5. I don't know why
or Gazzo would have been like dead.
Or in Rocky 6, or like in Rocky Balboa.
Imagine like Gazzo's like in like an old folks home, and he's like visiting him.
He dies like at the end of Godfather 3.
And Rocky
sitting in a backyard.
Like, yeah, Rocky's like, I need a job. I still need a job, and he's like working for Rocky. Gazzo's like son.
Oh God!
All right, so that's a tangent,
and that's a nostalgia test tangent. So, guys, if you like Nostalgia Test podcast, please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and like.
Follow us on all social media outlets that you can find us and where you can get podcasts: Podbean, Spotify, Apple.
Did Clubber Lang cause Mickey's death?
Okay, I'm always questioning this. I don't know. To me, like it looks like Clubber Lang kills him because he pushes him, which it was again.
It was gonna happen.
Rocky should have like not even tried to chase after. Like they like. It was just,
what was that?
What? Why are you?
I thought I was watching
this?
a wrestling match. That wouldn't have happened.
No, that would never have happened at all. In fact, like Clubber Lang, after he attacks the reporters, like he would have, like they would have been like, okay,
fight should have ended. Yeah, everyone's going to jail.
Exactly.
Like that's all assault. Nothing's happening. Fight's over.
Yeah, you can't have a fight after that. But this is the thing. I love this scene because they bring Mickey in there. And then he goes, we got to call it the fight. We got to call it the fight and blah, blah, blah. And like you could see Rocky's panicked. And then that's why part of me is like the way Stallone played it, it really makes me think like maybe he could have won this fight. I don't know. Right. Like because like he plays that up so well where he looks at Adrian. He's like, I don't know what to do. When Mickey takes him, he's like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? You do it. And you go, and I'm just like, oh shit. That's like in Godfather 1 when like the guy's like crying. He's like, I don't know what to do, Godfather. He's like, you can act like a man, and he smacks him in the face.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. I love that scene.
That was a great scene, but it would have been crazy to see him win after that. But you could just tell. You're right. Like he is distracted, you know. But he was just not in it.
He's also he wasn't. Yeah. He's also like almost 20 pounds lighter than him in the first fight.
Yeah.
And you could see it in his eyes, man, when he walks up to him and like Mr. T's got one of the greatest stares. I mean, holy God. I'm afraid of him when he was like staring at him.
But Mr. T doesn't even care that he pushed the old man.
No.
And the old man is in the back dying.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Didn't care about any of that.
No.
Only cares about being champion.
Yeah. And this fight, he beats the crap out of him. I mean, Stallone has taken some beatings in these movies. This was one of the worst.
Dude,
really
2 rounds.
2 rounds.
2 rounds. Couldn't even last 2 rounds. I mean, he's distracted, right? I get it. But here's the thing. Why is his corner that bad? Like, you're telling me Mickey's the only thing that can handle that corner?
Once again, Stallone, call us. We get a Google Doc together. We can do this series because I need to understand if Stallone is like an orphan and like Mickey was like some sort of like father figure, obviously, to him, that like there's some sort of connection that we're not seeing and that we don't understand from back in the day. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be something there. There's got to be something there because like he acts too much like this is his family to him, and obviously they've been through a lot together, but it's way
but only
more
for
heightened.
like 5 years. Yeah, this is like they've known each other through thick and thin for a long time.
Right, exactly. And man, when he takes that punch to the face, like in the end of that fight, I'm like, he doesn't care.
He just wants to get to Mickey. You know, Mickey didn't want to go to the hospital without Rocky.
Yeah.
You know.
And this scene, though, too, was like really great when Apollo Creed goes up to Mr. T. Apparently on set, Mr. T and Carl Weathers did not get along. And this was like...
Carl Weathers doesn't like anybody but Rocky.
Seriously. He didn't even like Stallone in the beginning. And then there was some sort of rift afterwards for like a decade. But like...
Yeah.
Like...
Carl Weathers didn't get along with Dolph
Lundgren.
Yeah, I feel like Carl Weathers was probably like, this was supposed to be my third fight with him. You're taking it away. Maybe that's why. Maybe he wanted to have the rematch, like, be the actual... Because there was a story that it was going to be a third Apollo fight.
Yeah.
And that was going to be the story. But,
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they could have done it. I just think that, like, when Rocky finally, like, when this fight ends, right, and he goes back to the locker room, I mean, Adrian's like reaction is like, oh my God, what happened?
Adrian's
it's like, Jesus.
Rocky's eyes shut again.
Like
She's
one
like,
eye
oh my
is like
God.
Totally shut.
She's probably like, that was quick.
Yeah.
There's no way you beat him that quick.
No.
And you lost.
Yeah. And then this scene when he tells Mickey what happened, but he doesn't say who won, but just that it was a knockout in the second round. And Mickey's like, I knew we could do that. I knew we could do it. It's so sad because you have one of the greatest actors of all time, Burgess Meredith. He's got a tear running down his eye. This is one thing I'll say. This is one thing I'll say about Rocky 3. There were more moments in Rocky 3 where I wanted to cry than in Rocky 1 or 2. Where in Rocky 1 and 2...
you didn't care she was in a coma?
Dude, I told you, I fast-forwarded it through that whole part, basically. Because I'm like, we get it.
Like, skip 15, skip 15, skip 15.
Yeah.
This is the Manny Quillo repeat.
Because it's like, whatever. But like, during Rocky 3, when Mickey dies, I wanted to cry. Because Burgess Meredith and his reaction is just like, his acting is just, wow. I think the other part when, like, and we'll get to that part with when Adrian kind of like calls him out on the beach, that part too, like there were scenes. Yeah, there were scenes where I'm just like, it's so, the emotion's so turned up that like, it's a confusing movie in that way because I'm just like, this movie is montage central as well, but in a very different way.
This movie is montage, bro. At least I would say, and there's no, I looked and maybe, maybe our boys at Buzzn the Tower would know.
Shameless plugs.
The statistic on this, but it's got to be like 20%, 22% montage.
First 6.5 minutes in the movie, all montage, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like...
Then the training, the first training.
Yeah. That, I think of that as a montage, even though
that's a montage.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's a montage. It goes back and forth. There's music. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And then you got the first section of Apollo and him, and then the Eye of the Tiger montage.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of montage.
That's like 4 montages.
Yeah.
That's 4 montages in a movie that's like 100 minutes. In between that, like you have these really, again, powerful moments that are like kind of sprinkled throughout the movie. But yeah, this was definitely gearing up for whatever Rocky 4 was going to become. I feel like that he saw what he could do with Eye of the Tiger, and he's like, what if there were all montages of full songs?
2 songs were going to be the song of this movie that got passed.
Oh.
It was
Another One Bites the Dust?
Another One Bites the Dust.
Weird.
Did Queen not want to give it to them?
I think they just didn't want to give it to them, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one was the Karate Kid one.
Yeah.
You're the best around.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be this movie's soundtrack.
I know. Can you imagine? Imagine?
No. That's why when things work out, you're like, oh, this is meant to be. Like, some things are just meant to be. There's what would Apollo's like tag, like, because he was like, you didn't have the Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
You didn't have the Eye of the Tiger. Like, what would he have said? Like, you're not the best around. You got to act like the best around.
Dude, if he had to say, you don't want to bite the dust. You want to do, like, what's he supposed to say with the Queen song? Like, it makes no sense.
That's why the Eye of the Tiger is, like, perfect. It just worked out.
Perfect. And I love that it's like, now that he knew that, I feel like after he went back to the script or whatever, he's like, all right, where can I put Eye of the Tiger in this movie? Like, where in the movie can I have because this is what's crazy about this movie. You have Eye of the Tiger. It's played twice, right? In this movie or throughout the entire film. It's also parts of it are being played throughout the film. It starts with the big Rocky music. Then it starts with a montage with Eye of the Tiger, full song. And then again. Crazy.
All right, so he loses, and then we see that Mickey was Jewish.
That was a surprise, apparently. Yeah,
that was a surprise, and they really did it because just to pay homage to a lot of the Jewish trainers that were unknown. Like no one really talked about their religion. So they wanted to really like harp on that.
Yeah.
Man, Stallone is like,
and he directed this one too.
Yeah.
Directed this one.
So then, he's standing there alone, and this is where there's like an awesome shot where the camera's on him.
Yeah.
And Apollo walks in to the gym, and he's like, "Who's that?" And like the camera turns. There's no cut. It actually pans over.
Yeah.
By like go back to like the handheld look.
Yeah.
And the best line when he's like, the newspapers would go crazy if they knew we were talking like this. Like, what? Like, that's what he's...
That was the weirdest line. And that was the thing. Like, Carl Weathers is acting his balls off. And I know Stallone is doing the best he can, and he's like acting and he's good, but there are certain line deliveries that just don't make sense for him.
There were some great comedic lines in the beginning of the movie too. But the one with Apollo, that's another thing too. Apollo, he's great because like he's trying to be serious and talking, and like Rocky responds the way he does, and it's like you could tell it's either Carl Weathers going like, I'm not gonna respond to this, like I'm just gonna keep going, like my character would just like move on, like all right, you're stupid, I'm moving on. Like
I know, like
especially with Paulie, like when they go to the gym.
Oh my god!
LA, and Paulie's being one of the most racist people like there
ever,
surrounded by people that would just destroy him. That's the great, and he's just like give him 6 years, you'll like him. Like I don't got 6 years.
I don't got 6 years. That's the best part because like first of all, I just want to say that like. They're all, first of all, I can't take this. I can't take it. Like, I'm so glad Rocky 4 had the wardrobe in it because I'm looking at Rocky 3 and I'm like, they're all getting on a plane to go fly to LA. And I'm like, they're dressed like to the nines. They're like in church clothes. They're going on a plane. They get out on Skid Row in LA, what it looks like. And it's just like,
okay,
they walk into that gym.
Things wrong about this.
Oh my god, that gym!
The best part is like
that ring was 2 feet off the ground.
They were on a sheet there. Then they were on a bed mattress.
It looked like they were on a box spring. I can't. So stupid.
That wasn't a ring.
This is where I started. This is where you started?
Like, that was a gym mat. That was a wrestling mat that they got from the high school gym.
Dude, both Apollo and Rocky have nothing else to prove. If that's where Apollo started and where Rocky started was in like what looks like a garbage dump, and they both got rich, stop fighting. You've done it. You're done.
Stop fighting.
It's over. It's like,
dude, you guys just flew first class.
Just train people.
To go live in the apartment that Tom Hanks lived in when he was big.
Why? This is just like in Rocky 4 when he's like, I want to be out in the middle of nowhere.
Why?
It's like Apollo's like,
why?
Let's put him up in like this hotel that you're definitely. It's dangerous.
What's so sad? Yeah, and what's so sad is that Duke is there. Why is Duke there?
I don't know.
Is that Duke's gym?
That's what I want to know. I feel like I don't know if it's his gym or Apollo's just like, yo, we're going back to where I started. Duke, go there. But maybe that's Duke's gym. Maybe he owns that place.
No, because like when like Duke is just there and he's got a towel over his shoulder, like
everything's ready.
Training other people.
He finally has a name too. Finally, Tony Burton gets a fucking character name.
The best is if Apollo's like, all right, we're gonna go check in, and like they check in, Apollo checks into this like, like checks them into this like horrible apartment, and Apollo's like, all right, I'm gonna go, like takes a cab to the Marriott.
I'm pretty sure he did. I think Paulie, and the fact that Paulie has to stay in that hotel is the best. It's the best. Rocky's like, what are we doing here? Like, as if he's better than that. Like, he didn't grow up in a really bad part of like Philadelphia. Yeah, all Philadelphia. You know, in the 70s.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
And I love like Rocky is like, we could do this. This is fine. They left their kid again. Well, for the first time. Because they keep leaving this child. They'll leave him again in the future. But we see him leave his kid for a fight. Yeah. Why isn't the kid coming? Now I know why the kid's not coming.
Thank God.
Because they didn't want to bring him to this homeless part of LA.
No. And this is what bothers me about this. It's like, everyone knows who you are. You're like one of the most famous people on the planet. You're Rocky Balboa.
And you walk in with like a Rolex. Like they walked in, first of all, can we go back? We brought this up.
It was like in Coming to America when he got out in Queens.
Yes. No, it's exactly it. The best thing is, and they're like, we'll help you. But like one of the best things is like, you just brought it up, like when they're traveling, like back then you traveled in style like this.
Yeah.
Like when I travel, I'm basically wearing what I'm wearing now. Like I have sweatpants on, a t-shirt. I got like my hair's all over the place. I'm like, I want to be comfortable. Like it's a Sunday and it's a little cold outside. It's a little cloudy. I'm gonna go lay down and lounge out. These guys were dressed. They took a Windsor knot, put it on. Boy had a Windsor knot on.
The only one that wasn't just the only one that wasn't just was Paulie. He looked like he was gonna go. He looked like he was just going on a track after.
He was trying out for his job.
Oh my god, he had the weirdest sunglasses.
All right, so they get into the wrestling gym. The boxing gym. Oh, filled with people. That place was packed. That place stunk.
It's like, it's Beluga.
Stinks. I'm telling you. Oh. You ever been in a wrestling room?
Yeah, dude. I went to school and they, for some reason, made us always have gym in the little wrestling room for some reason when it was horrifying.
After we wrestled. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And that was only like 25 people.
We should have all had ring
more than 25 people in that gym.
Yeah, gross.
The best is like no one, at first, everyone's not. They're kind of pretending they don't know who he is, and they're just staring at him.
And if you watch it with subtitles, you'll see some of the people are like, "What's he doing here?" And I'm like, "Okay, like I get it, like I get that." But then everyone's like,
"They're responding."
Yeah. But then
Cole Weathers like makes it okay.
Yeah, he's like, "Hold on, I'm gonna make it okay for you to come over." And he's like, "Come over here," and everyone's like, "Yay, it's Rocky!" And then
"Hey, Rocky!
Yeah,
what are you doing here? We're gonna teach you how to fight our style."
Yeah, like this is the weirdest.
You're lucky when you beat Apollo. And this is a perfect time to take a little bit of break from the show, from this test, from these tangents. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a plug, Dan, if you don't mind. I'm one of the owners of Lithology Brewing Company, located in Farmingdale, New York. We're a New York Farm Brewery. We're a Nano Brewery. Come down. We got 12 rotating tap handles going. Go to lithologybrewing.com for more information, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Lithology Brewing. That's LITHOLGY Brewing. Thank you. Back to the show. Apollo's Wayne Gretzky. Rocky's the guy that you know that goes around and just beats people up. Like there's no real
name
skill
for that guy. It's just like
he's just
that's hilarious.
Yeah, he's just like he's the goon. Rocky's the guy when you used to play Nintendo ice hockey. And you got the skinny guy, the medium guy, and the big guy.
Yeah.
He's the big guy that just knocked people around.
He looks so distressed.
I know.
Stallone looks so distressed. And the fact is, we know he can do those things. Like, we know he can move his feet like that. We know he can do all that stuff. So it must have been, I don't know if it's hard to, like, look like you can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, Stallone did really good in this one.
You know, do a lot of physical stuff.
Yeah, like to pretend you can't do something because at the end you have to do it.
Yeah,
is a little harder.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you get this scene where he's like, "Mickey never told me to make me do this," and Apollo looks at him like, "I'm so done with you." Like the face that he gives to him. Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, I know. That's why we're fucking doing it."
Yeah, and
he's wearing a sweatshirt tank top.
Oh God,
which. By far one of the funniest scenes. What they're wearing in LA. Wardrobe.
High
in
socks.
This whole I have to agree, like best wardrobe in all of the franchise is this one and then 4. In the beginning of 4.
I need the clothes from 4. From 4. But you're right, the wardrobe is really awesome because also they all have money. I mean, I'm not wearing what he wore in Rocky 1. And maybe the jacket.
Maybe the
But even before this, before the race, we see Apollo's even fed up with him before that, when like he's sparring him and he's punching him, he's like, clubbing, like he's hitting you, he's jabbing, and then he stops and he's like, what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think's gonna happen? He's like, oh, it hurt real bad. He's like, no, he's gonna hurt. Like, he's like yelling at him, and then he's hooking, and he's like, what are you doing? And Adrian's watching this whole thing go down, like the whole thing. And all she has to say is when they're back, she's like, oh, the water's hot. We never had a honeymoon. It's like, yo, yeah, what? Like, no. And at the same time, she's like, we've been in worse places. I'm like, yeah, his apartment.
Yeah, with the knife on the bed.
She's like,
where are the turtles at this time?
I don't know.
They never bring it up again.
She's trying her best, like, to make a good thing. She's like, oh my God, like everything. And he's just I mean, he's just sitting there.
He's the wet blanket in this one.
Oh my God. Unbelievable. And then, go back to, and then the race happens. Yeah, go ahead, because like this is one.
The race happens, and he's like, "What's the matter with you?" And he's like, he's lost it. He's done. He's like, we're done.
It's done. He's like, it's over.
And then Adrian has the best speech given by Adrian in all of the movies.
Every single one.
Because in 4, she ruins it when she's on top of the stupid steps. But this, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Don't put her on steps.
No.
She is like, stop with the pity party.
Yeah.
You know?
She's like, what is your problem? Like, what is going on here? Like, and she's like,
you won those fights. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
You won. If you want to do this, great. If not, like, it's got to be your choice. Like, we have everything. And he's like, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And he finally admits that he's afraid because now he's got things to lose.
Yeah.
But she doesn't care about the money.
No, she doesn't care about anything.
She's like, we can get all this back.
Yeah. And I love how, like, when she's like, because in part 2, he talks about that idea, like, you had a great impression, and everyone should check out Manny's impersonation in the Rocky 2 episode when he's like, I would have never asked you to not be a woman. Don't ask me to not be a man. And then in this one, she's like, what? And you're afraid? Was like, you're not a man anymore. Oh, I wanted her to just, at one point, just go, where? Like... But she's right. She's just like,
it was her best scene of all the movies.
She's like, come on, what is your problem? Like, and because one, you're gonna get your ass kicked. Like, if you go into the ring like this, you're gonna get killed now. Like, really, it's all about his safety.
One of the cool thing was, she's like, what the hell are we doing here? Yeah, like, why do we pack up, get on a plane,
get bed bugs,
sleeping in this bed that has bed bugs? There's water. There's hot water for a moment. For what? What And I wake up and go smell men's gym. This is what you put me into. And I'm staring at you, jumping around, sweating everywhere. None of this is hot.
He can't bounce a ball. I was like, this is the one thing he should be able to do. Like,
yeah, he was able to grab chickens. Come on. That's the thing. It's almost like he forgot to fight at all.
Oh.
Like, he made it through those fights. He did fight 10 fights. Like, even though those fighters might have been like chumps, like, come on, he still had to fight.
When he goes, how did you get so tough? And she's like, I married a fighter. That's when I almost cried.
Fighter.
That's when I almost cried.
Yo, though, I'll say she looked great in that. Her hair is a little messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
One of the best, sexiest Adrian scenes ever, I would say.
Yeah, well, because they're at the height of money. And then in Rocky 5, it just all goes downhill.
So anyway, in all the Rockies, there's always that moment.
Yeah.
And it's always triggered by Adrian. Although one might have not been. She cues montages.
Yeah, Adrian's a montage cuer.
She even cues there's no easy way out.
Maybe the montage in Rocky 1 was queued up by when she said, do you want a roommate? And then Rocky went, absolutely. Remember when she was like, when Paulie threw the turkey, when he smashes everything in the house? And then she runs in the bedroom and he goes back there after he almost like punches Paulie in the face. And she goes, do you want a roommate? And he goes, absolutely. And I think after that, that's when the montage happened because she was icing his hands after he was hitting the meat. That's got me ball. And he would say, oh, Paulie's just crazy. He had a blah, blah, blah. And then Paulie got pissed and smashed everything. And I think that's what cued the montage possibly.
Maybe we gotta go back to that because I'm trying to think about like what got him to like get. Oh, she cued that montage too in 2 when she's yelling at him to not fight, and he's like, "I gotta go," and like they leave, and that's like the beginning of the montage in 2.
A little bit
before she goes into a coma.
And you notice in Rocky 4, the last time he sees her is on steps, basically, or in a window. And then the next time he sees her, she's on steps. And she walks down that thing.
She loves steps, bro.
She loves staircases.
But she's not on steps at the beach.
No, and that's when she's the most powerful, when she's connected to the earth.
And the waves. The universe. And her hair is floating everywhere.
So that's
the most likable. She's the most likable in that scene.
Dude, this training scene, I love this training scene. This is one of my favorite training scenes of the Rockies, because he is just like killing it. And also like I don't know. It's just a really interesting training scene because it's like totally different than all the other ones, where all the other ones are like weightlifting, getting smacked in the stomach, like karate chopped in the stomach, chasing chickens. And then in Rocky 3, it's like all about footwork, jumping rope, sparring.
He's learning how to fight.
And you know what? This is why.
Oh, you're right, Dan. This is like when the fanfare comes back.
Right.
And this is the only other time. They don't do this in 4 or 5.
Right.
Only in Rocky Balboa does the fanfare come back. You're right.
Yeah. I love this one because you're right. This training scene is like, let's teach Rocky to fight now. Now he has to be a good fighter, which I guess lines it up for Rocky 4, because it's like, and then maybe Rocky Balboa to be like, he knows everything now. He's been taught how to fight. He also can, like, he's got a lot of heart and blah, blah, blah. Now he has all the tools, but it took his whole life to kind of get it.
Yeah. And I don't think that there's a scene in this montage of Clubber Lang.
No.
So you only see him.
You only see Rocky.
Yeah, you don't. And look at that belly shirt.
Oh, and let's talk about just splicing that race down the beach in between the montage of him working out. So you have like this race that started. It's in slow motion.
Calves for days.
These two guys are in the best shape of their lives in this film. Like, I think you're right. Like this, I think he looks the best. He's in the best shape of his career probably in this film. And Carl Weathers has always been in excellent shape. And this one, he's in like even better shape.
You know, Carl Weathers slowed down at the end of this race.
Of course he did. Every time, the first time I watched it, I was like, of course he did. He's much faster than him.
So let me ask you this. Who do you think's idea was it to jump in the water?
I think it was Stallone's idea, Manny. He's the director. This is his vision. He's very like, let's go in the water. I don't think Carl Weathers is happy about it. I'm looking, when I saw it back,
Carl Weathers is the most uncomfortable bro hug ever.
Yeah.
Like, Carl Weathers does not want to be hugging him at the end. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what is
like,
this scene?
Is this shot?
Like, what is this?
What is this shot? Like, is this where they become friends?
I guess this is it. This is how they become real friends. And it's just like,
this is the bro hug. This is what does it for them.
Do you know what's funny though? And this is good. This blew my mind.
Knee-high socks.
Oh, those socks are excellent. You know they're made really well too to stay up. But like I am blown away now by the fact that like they make Apollo and Rocky seem like the best of friends, right? But if you really think about the timeline into Rocky 4, they've only been friends for that period of time. So what? A few months, and then Rocky 4 starts where that fight at the end of Rocky 3 happens. So unless there's a ton of time that passed between the end of the fight with Clubber Lang to that secret fight, it's almost like happened almost immediately, and then Apollo's dead.
Bro hugs.
Ocean, crop topped.
No, because time doesn't exist in the Rocky
not at
world.
all.
And let's just go back to this.
Go.
This whole training thing.
Yeah.
Apollo just wants him to win so he could fight him.
Yeah.
Apollo doesn't care about the money.
No.
Apollo doesn't care about anything except I want him to win so that he still owes me that favor. He keeps bringing that up.
Yeah.
You got to give me that favor. And like Rocky's like, what's the favor?
Dude, I hate that scene.
It's just a fight.
I hate that scene when he's like waiting to go out to fight, and Apollo gives him his shorts, and he goes, first of all, he's like, you better wash them before you give them back. Will do. And then and then Apollo's like, remember, you got a favor. You owe me a favor after this. And it's just like a close up or like this weird framed shot of Stallone. He's like, what favor?
Yeah.
That's got me ball.
I hate that scene. What favor? Because in between that,
Imagine they end that way, though.
oh,
Imagine if they ended the trilogy of them just fighting that punch at the end.
I think I would have been fine with that. Two
What, the
champions,
two best
kind of
friends now
two champions,
fighting?
kind of like, come together to I don't know, maybe not because like what
Have
am I
the
saying
fight.
here to like come together to beat Clover Lang together? Like I mean,
I don't know.
Clover Lang.
It was crazy.
I love that. Like now he loves to do an interview. They're like, "What are your predictions for the fight?" And he's just like, "Pain, pain." Okay, I gotta go. Pain. Dude, why is
Clover Lang-
Duke not wearing a shirt during the training? I think that was a choice by Tony Burton because he's like, it is so hot here. I cannot wear a shirt right now. Why am I wearing this shirt? I mean,
Dude, it goes back to Duke's like best dress was in one when he had the open button
one of the
shirt,
greatest scenes.
and he's just and he's sitting there and he's like, "Yo, this guy means business."
This guy needs
He's eating like almonds or something.
And that's the nostalgia test tangent.
All right, so so all that training
So
happened.
we're over here, guys. So now
This
we're at
fight.
the fight. The fight is shot pretty well. They don't make any cuts
No,
in
and
this fight.
the punches are mic'd like explosions. These punches and in Rocky 4 are like, it's like a grenade went off every time someone gets punched.
It's crazy, but Rocky doesn't seem... He goes further in this than the first one that he fought,
Yeah.
but yet he looks less beat up.
And he gets punched a ton of times. Like
A ton, and he's like, "You ain't so bad." I was like, what training did he learn from Apollo? He went back to just being a bruiser.
he scraps it like after the first round. He's like, "What do you think you're doing out there?" He's like, "I know what I'm doing. It's strategy."
It's the rope-a-dope.
Yeah,
It's the dope-a-dope.
it's strategy. I got it. That's your strategy? It's like, it doesn't take a strategy to get punched in the face, bro. Oh my God, it's so
Dude, that's
funny.
the thing. He leans into punches.
Yeah, he's like,
He was just wanted to get him tired.
if you're the ref
He just wanted...
and the other guy is walking up to the other dude going, "Go ahead, punch me in the face really hard." I think the referee should be like, "Okay, all right, fight's over. We can't have that."
Fight's over.
That's like the same thing like in the first fight when Stallone is standing in the corner, hands are not up, he's just standing, and Mr. T is staring at him. There's like a second or two, and then he winds up and punches him.
Yeah.
The referee should have stopped the fight immediately right there. They're like, okay, the fight's over. It's like the ref's like,
Fight's over.
let me see what happens here. What's gonna happen is his head taken off. Oh my God,
Dude, he's getting... I'm watching the fight at the end of it. He's getting destroyed.
dude! Stallone gets
the haymakers are just coming.
I love how Stallone takes a
Stallone
beating.
does like I know. It's amazing. It's amazing. And he's like, oh, the way he looks up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. He's like, whoa.
And I love like Apollo's like acting as him.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't he ducking? It's like he doesn't duck.
You fought him. He ducks. You were the one that only taught him to duck now. And like
Yeah.
the
You think he's just gonna remember that?
Yeah.
You taught him 5 days ago. Okay.
Yeah.
He got yelled at by his wife. All he's gonna do is just get this guy tired.
Yeah.
He's not gonna get knocked out anymore.
No. Oh my
No,
God.
I love it when he's like, "What is he doing? He's winning.
He's getting
Like,
mad.
He's getting mad."
It's not a strategy, bro. Like when Apollo's like, be more man than him.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, when he
I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. It's like, no, you don't know what you're doing. screaming at him. I think Apollo's screaming at him like what you said because he's like, if he loses, what's the point of me fighting him? I should just fight Clubber then.
Exactly.
Like Apollo's like, he's got to win.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Apollo only did all this because he wanted to fight Rocky.
He wanted a private fight. Private one-on-one fight where anyone could get really hurt.
He's like, I gotta get this guy to get the belt so he feels okay, and then we're just gonna have our own fight.
Yeah,
and that's it.
When he
no referee,
no ref, no anything,
Apollo
no cell phones.
To kill Rocky.
No cell phones where they can go. Oh boy.
Yeah, imagine Apollo killed Rocky and then he just like buried him somewhere. It's like, what happened? Oh, he had a heart attack. He was in the shower. And he just died.
He's like dragging his body. He's like throws him in his.
Do you know how crazy it would be if all of a sudden, like Apollo's like, all right, after this whole fight, okay, because it almost seems like after he wins, it's like they go right to doing the favor.
That's what I mean, and
like,
that means Rocky
hey,
4 picks up immediately.
Get in the shower. You know, it's like you know what? Isn't it in the movie Miracle?
Okay.
Based on a true story about the Olympic Games, when like they lose to a team and they're like, oh, no one's going home, we're practicing. Like basically, Rocky just had a championship fight.
Yeah,
wins the belt, goes to take a shower, and Apollo's like, "You ready?" And Rocky's like, "What?
What?"
He's fucking shot.
I just got my head
The adrenaline's
pounded.
gone. The adrenaline's gone. So you know all the swelling's happening, all of it.
Yeah.
And then so Apollo's like, this is where I got him. Okay, let's go fight. Rocky gets knocked out, dies. Rocky 4 happens.
Rocky 4. I love the fact that like we know in Rocky 4 he comes in, he's got a new hat, and his kid's like, "Where'd you get that hat?" It's like, same friend. It's like, oh,
Same
a friend gave it to me.
me.
So after their fight, Apollo's like, "What is Rocky on?" I'm imagining Rocky's on the ground. Like knocked out, and Apollo's like, "Told you," and he's like, "Here's a hat," and he just walks out and left him there. And then Rocky comes home, his kid's got red hair, no glasses. What happened? How long have I been out?
He's got a camera. Yeah,
for 2 years.
He actually got put in a coma.
Oh my god!
This time.
Oh my god!
They're like, Adrian's like, Apollo, what happened to Rocky? I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Got put in a coma.
Yeah,
I'm not really sure.
Not sure what happened.
It's like he was fine when I left him when he went to go take a shower. He owed me a favor.
You owe me a favor, dude.
I just used his head as a punching bag. But see, like when they're fighting at the end, they're like Rocky's like cured. So I think this is like
5 years later.
A couple years later, like they hung out, they had a couple dinners, and he's like, "Yo, you still owe me that favor." He's like, "Oh God," and he's like, "Just keep punching, Apollo.
Just keep punching, Apollo.
Gonna ring the bell?
Ding, ding."
I guess the myth is that Apollo wins.
Yeah, that's what we do find out. Spoiler.
Apollo wins.
Yeah. I want to know how badly he won. That's what I want to know.
Now they should have done a cut where that fight happens.
Yeah,
and we see that.
100%.
Like I would watch that.
Of course, who wouldn't? I think if this was a trilogy, that's the fight you see at the end.
Yeah, like you continue to watch it. You're like, oh, this movie's not over.
Yeah.
And like, there's no corner, so like, no one's telling Rocky like what to do.
And who's ringing another bell?
And who's saying it's 3 minutes?
It's like a 3-minute round. It's literally like
imagine as Paulie comes in, Paulie and Duke,
dude.
Paulie and Duke
okay.
are managing the fight.
So Apollo and Rocky accidentally kill each other, and like Duke and Paulie walk into that thing like, oh shit, what happened?
What do we do?
What do we do? Call Gazzo.
They both knock each other out.
Yeah.
They both knock each other out.
Oh my God.
Man, there'd be so much going on.
And that's the Nostalgia Test Tangent.
There's so much going on in these films. And like really at the end, obviously he wins. I mean, and he wins the belt back. He jumps really high. Everyone's really happy, whatever.
Apollo's out of his mind happy.
Because he's like, thank God.
Now I get to fight him.
Yeah. Yeah, now I get to fight him. Now, I think the lesson that Clubber Lang should learn is that listen to your trainer.
Yes.
Because they would tell him, like, stop doing what you're doing.
But the fight was definitely, like, it was good to watch, but it wasn't, like, climactic. Like, I was more interested in, like, the montage before, and then it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
there's not much of a speech at the end.
No, this one has no speech.
Because they want to get right to the favor.
Yes. And I'm happy that they have that in the movie, because I was thinking, like, if it just ended on that, I'm just like, yeah, it kind of course. Like, what, we going to have a second match where he loses? So, like, I'm glad that you have this other thing that happens, because it kind of gives it a little mystery. But also, like, a really much better ending.
Yeah.
And then Eye of the Tiger.
And then Eye of the Tiger, which then gets played again in Rocky IV. Because they were like, this movie, this song is phenomenal.
Oh, God. Well, Rocky.
All right.
Manny.
We're here.
Oh, my God.
If you guys are still listening, thanks for hanging in.
Yeah. We want to hear your rankings. You're going to have to give us some rankings so that we
Now, do you think this is a 9?
I don't think this is a 9.
I don't think it's a 9 either.
I think, though, after watching this movie, I might have to rethink my rankings. I don't know. Maybe I did.
What do you got? What's your ranking?
Well, I'm right now, I think the way I'm feeling is 1-4-3 to 6-5.
Ooh.
I like 2, but the
1-4. You did a 1-4, not a 4-1.
No, I like a 1-4. I think, but like I said, I've said this before, that I feel like 1 and 4.
I have a feeling that you'll be saying
flop.
4-1 in the next episode.
Is it? Yeah, maybe. But I think like my 1 and 4 flip flop. You know what I mean? It really depends, because I really love those 2 films, but
I think it depends on what you're in the mood for.
yeah. But I think
like,
3.
Are you in the mood for some high energy, cheesy 80s,
right,
amazing sports movie, or are you in the mood for a film?
Right, exactly.
A love story.
Exactly.
Like this one, you gotta give the fact that this one was a boxing story.
This was 100% a boxing story. This was not a love story. Maybe it was a love story.
Literally in there for a moment.
Yeah.
Of like her, like finally, like she's always got his back.
Right.
In the end, she always has his back. But like she was less of a wet blanket in this than in other movies.
But I do think,
this was definitely more of a boxing movie.
This was much more of a boxing movie, and it was definitely, if we want, maybe we could say this is definitely a love story between Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed.
This is a love story where he loses his best friend and gains another.
Oh, there you go. And then loses him again.
And then, I don't want to be Rocky's best friend.
Yeah. So, Manny, what do you got? Does Rocky 3 pass the nostalgia test, or is it just nostalgic?
Man, I don't know.
If I remember correctly, you and I both thought Rocky 2 was just nostalgic. That was, I think, what we both had on that one.
Yeah, but I actually think this is a good movie. I think it's entertaining. But see, I don't know. Like, it goes back to what I said. No, I don't think it does, because it's shit. This is a tough one, because I do think it's good, and I think if you watch it, you're like, oh, that was a good movie, but you're not gonna watch it again, so that doesn't make it really pass the test.
I'm having that trouble too, because I'm like, I enjoyed it. It wasn't long. It felt a little long. It's funny, but at the same time, I'm like, do
you fast forward?
Did I fast forward? No, I didn't fast forward on this one. But here's the thing. I feel like this one is at the beginning of that like thing where like he does like the Rocky IV montages, where this one was like gearing up for that. So I feel like it overdid some, and it didn't get some of it right. So it kind of made it weird. Like it made it odd. Like there was that weird montage in the beginning, and then there's a scene where Burgess Meredith is dancing like with a Santa Claus mask on, and I never realized what is that? Yeah, like it's very quick. It looks so weird. And and then you have him like riding a motorcycle with no hands and no helmet, and Adrian no hands or no helmet. Like,
oh, she was all about it.
Super dangerous. But like, yeah, but like exactly. But I think like it's a good movie, but it's really weird at times. The Thunder Lips thing.
Yeah, I don't think it passes.
Weird.
It's weird because it's funny. You think about like the franchise, and you go, oh yeah, they're all great. But like, if you told me like I'm going on an island, you have to choose only 3 Rocky movies.
Right.
Which Rocky movies are you bringing? 4 and 1 are definitely coming.
100%.
Is this coming over 2? Is this coming over? Well,
I automatically went to
Mission
like Rocky
5.
Balboa almost. Like as you
I
said,
was going
that.
to say maybe Rocky Balboa just because it ends it.
Right. And you get the good story in Rocky 1, you get the amp up in Rocky 4, and you get the nice ending in Rocky Balboa. Now, of course, we haven't revisited it, but I think with Rocky 3 is at the beginning of the 80s, 1982. It's trying to do that 80s thing. It's not going 80s enough, and it's got 1 foot in the 70s, and it's got 1 foot in the 80s, so it just doesn't know exactly where it's going cinema-wise in that way. And, you know, everyone has to understand there is that we see that in 1 and 2. Those are straight 70s films. You know, 3 and 4 are super 80s. 4 is super 80s. 3 just doesn't know yet. And I feel like because of that, I'm going to say it's nostalgic. I don't think it passes.
It's nostalgic.
Yeah.
It doesn't pass it. I would say my ranking right now, after watching all of them, is 4-1, 6-3-2-5.
6-3-2-5. Wow. See, that's
right now.
Yeah.
This might change by the time we get to 4, 5, and 6. But right now, because I just finished watching 3, we're ranking every time, and it's changed for me every time.
Yeah. Well, Manny, we did it again.
Right. Yeah.
Rocky 3 took it to the limit. Eye of the Tiger, powered through it. We want to know what you think about Rocky 3. Throw it right in the comments. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave a 5-star review on iTunes. It's to help other people find the podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Nostalgia Test, Twitter at Nostalgia Test, and we'd love to hear your rankings. 1 through 6. Put them up there. You'll see us on Instagram, post on Instagram and ask for rankings. We want to see, you know, how you ranking them. Another good one.
Take it back.
I don't know.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe to the Nostalgia Test podcast to know when new episodes drop. Don't forget to leave us 5 stars and a positive review so more people can find the podcast. Share your thoughts and memories on today's topic on our Twitter at Nostalgia Test and on Instagram at The Nostalgia Test. Tune in next time because you never know what pop culture will pop up on The Nostalgia Test.